Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to help get you prepped for a metrology technician interview.
Okay.
We've got all sorts of resources from RoleCatcher to help us out here. Career guides, interview guides, and even some insight into their AI platform.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
But before we get too far, let's just lay out like what a metrology technician actually does.
Right.
So they're basically the folks making sure all those instruments and tools we rely on are accurate and working properly.
Yeah, so calibrating, testing, analyzing all that good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at some stat the other day, and this field's actually projected to grow by like 5% between 2019 and 2029.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It is right. Job security, lots of hands-on work.
Not too shabby.
So if that sounds good, let's talk about how to ace that interview.
All right, let's do it.
So one of the first things that they always seem to ask is like, can you tell us about your experience with calibration procedures?
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
But how do we make our answer stand out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really about going beyond just listing the instruments you've worked with.
Okay.
The interviewer is looking for more than just a laundry list. They want to see your process, how you approach a challenge.
Right.
Think back to a time you had a really tricky calibration. What made it tough? What steps did you take? Did you have to, research a new technique or talk it through with a colleague?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Sharing those details really shows them how you solve problems.
Exactly, and it shows how committed you are to precision.
Now, speaking of specifics, I remember reading in RoleCatcher's Career Guide that it's super important to highlight your experience with certain types of equipment, like CMMs or optical comparators.
Yeah, for sure. Got to show them you have that hands-on experience they're looking for.
Right. And did they say anything about software or programming skills?
Oh, absolutely. Those are super valuable these days. Be sure to mention those if you've got them.
Okay, cool. So then they usually hit you with, what is your experience with measurement tools like CMMs, optical comparators, and vision systems?
Right. It's all about that toolbox.
But how do we answer this without just sounding like we're reading off our resume?
Well, think about it like this. It's your chance to show some enthusiasm, really dive deep into your knowledge.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I've used a CMM, tell them about a specific project where you used one. What were you measuring? What were the challenges? What techniques did you use?
Okay. I'm starting to see the pattern here. The more detail, the better.
Exactly.
And I bet they'll have follow-up questions too.
Oh, for sure.
Like, tell me about a time you had to troubleshoot a problem with a CMM.
Yep. Gotta be ready to think on your feet.
Now, before we move on to the next question, can we talk about RoleCatcher's AI for a sec?
Oh, yeah. That's a cool tool.
It can actually analyze your answers and tell you if you're hitting the right keywords and stuff.
It's wild, right? Like having your own interview coach in your computer.
Okay, back to the interview hot seat.
All right, let's go.
This next one is pretty fundamental. How do you ensure accuracy and precision in your measurements?
Ah, yes. This is where you really got to show off your knowledge of those core principles.
Okay, so break it down for us. How do we nail this one?
Think about all the steps involved, from calibrating your tools to controlling the environment to those specific techniques you use. Walk them through your whole process.
So it's more than just knowing the steps. It's about understanding why they matter.
Exactly. And don't be surprised if they throw in a curveball with a follow-up question.
Like what?
Something like, what's the biggest factor affecting accuracy in this specific type of measurement?
Oh, I see.
Got to be ready for anything.
Now, I know we mentioned RoleCatcher's AI before, but it can actually help you practice answering those tricky scenario-based questions too.
It's pretty impressive.
Okay, let's hit another question. This one's all about problem solving. How do you handle situations where the measurement results do not meet the required specifications?
Ah, yes. Because let's be real, things don't always go perfectly in the world of metrology.
Right, so how do we show them we can handle those curveballs?
Well, this is where you demonstrate your troubleshooting skills.
Okay.
Think about it like a step-by-step process.
Okay, walk me through it.
First, how do you figure out what went wrong? Do you double-check your calibrations, review the procedure, consider the environment?
Okay.
Then what? How do you come up with solutions and actually fix the problem?
So they're looking for someone who's methodical and analytical.
Exactly. Not someone who just panics when things go off track.
And I bet a good real-world example would really drive that point home.
For sure. Have a story ready to go? A time when you had to deal with those out-of-spec results?
That makes it so much more real and relatable.
Right. And it shows you can learn from those experiences and make things better next time.
Oh, speaking of learning, RoleCatcher's Guide really emphasized continuous learning.
It's crucial in this field.
Attending conferences, staying up to date on new tech, it's like a never-ending learning journey.
Absolutely. And that's something interviewers love to hear.
because it shows you're passionate and committed.
Exactly. It shows you're not just content with the status quo. You're always looking to grow and improve.
Okay, I think we've covered a good chunk of questions for now. Let's take a break, and we'll come back with more insights in the next part of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're back and ready to dive into some more of those interview questions.
All right, let's do it.
So this one really gets at your commitment to keeping up with the field. How do you stay updated with the latest trends and developments in metrology?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's not just about what you know now, right?
Right. You got to show them you're a lifelong learner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we convince them that we're on top of things?
Well, think about how you stay informed. Do you read any industry magazines?
Like Quality Magazine or something like that.
Exactly. Or Metrology World. Maybe you go to conferences.
Oh, yeah, like the Measurement Science Conference or the Coordinate Metrology Society Conference.
Those are great examples. You could even mention online courses or webinars, anything that shows you're actively seeking out knowledge.
Oh, and I remember RoleCatcher's Guide talked about joining professional organizations,
Yeah, those are great for networking and staying in the loop.
like the American Society for Quality or the International Metrology Association.
Well, those are good ones.
And of course, there's always the good old internet.
Right. NIST and ISO have tons of info on standards and best practices.
It's all about showing them you're resourceful.
Exactly.
And what if you could share something specific that you're really excited about in metrology?
Oh, that's a good idea, like a new technology or a trend you're following.
It adds a little personality to your answer, right?
Definitely. Shows them you're genuinely passionate about the field.
Okay, let's move on to another one. Can you explain the concept of uncertainty in metrology?
Uncertainty. The cornerstone of metrology.
It sounds a little scary, but I know it's important.
It is. It's basically acknowledging that no measurement is perfect.
There's always a margin of error.
Right. So you need to explain that concept clearly. Talk about what uncertainty is, where it comes from.
So things like limitations of the instruments, environmental factors, even human error,
Exactly. It's not about eliminating uncertainty completely.
but about understanding it and taking it into account,
Precisely. And you can even touch on methods for estimating uncertainty.
like using statistics or something like that.
Right, but don't get too bogged down in the technical stuff. The main point is to show you understand the concept.
And I bet a real-world example would help here too.
Oh, for sure. Tell them about a time you had to factor in uncertainty in your work.
Like measuring a really critical part where those margins of error really matter.
Exactly. How did you approach it? What steps did you take?
Makes it much more concrete and relatable.
And it shows you can apply the theory in a practical setting.
All right, let's tackle this one. How have you implemented statistical process control, SPC, in your work?
SPC. That's a powerful tool.
It seems pretty advanced, though.
It can be, but it's becoming more and more common in various industries.
So if you have experience with SPC, this is your chance to shine.
Right. Think about specific projects where you used control charts, histograms, Pareto analysis, all those good things.
So it's about showing them how you've actually used it to solve problems or improve processes.
Exactly. What was the goal? What data did you analyze? What did you learn?
And how did those insights lead to action?
Right. The more concrete your example, the better.
No, what if someone hasn't used SPC a lot?
Well, you can still show you understand the concept and that you're eager to learn more.
Maybe talk about how you've seen it applied in other settings or express your interest in developing those skills.
Exactly. It's all about showing initiative and a willingness to grow.
Okay, ready for the grand finale.
Bring it on.
Can you provide an example of a complex metrology problem you have solved in the past?
All right, time to show off those problem-solving skills.
This is where you really make a lasting impression.
Choose an example that demonstrates your ability to analyze a situation, find a solution, and get results.
But it's not just about the problem itself, right?
Right. It's about your approach. How did you think it through?
So what makes a good example for this question?
Make sure it's relevant to the job you're interviewing for.
Okay.
And choose something that was truly challenging, something that pushed you to think outside the box.
And don't be afraid to get into the nitty-gritty.
Yep. Walk them through your entire process, from identifying the root cause to exploring solutions to implementing the fix.
And if it was a team effort, highlight that too.
Absolutely. And metrology often involves collaboration.
Oh, and if you can quantify your results, that's even better.
Right. Did you reduce uncertainty by a certain percentage? Did you improve efficiency? Numbers make your story more impactful.
Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about these questions now.
That's what we like to hear.
But don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can give you even more personalized feedback.
It's like having a secret weapon in your interview prep arsenal.
All right, I think we've covered a ton of great stuff today.
We've barely scratched the surface of metrology.
But I feel much more prepared to tackle those interview questions.
That's the goal.
And for anyone listening, remember, be confident, be prepared, and most importantly, be passionate about metrology.
I let that enthusiasm shine through.
Okay, deep divers, that's a wrap for this part of our deep dive.
We'll be back soon with even more insights and tips to help you ace that interview.
It really makes you think about the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day, but metrology plays such a crucial role in so many industries.
Absolutely. Like, think about all the things that rely on accurate measurements.
Oh man, where do we even begin? Aircraft construction, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, you name it.
It's all about ensuring safety and quality.
Exactly. And as technology keeps advancing, the need for precision is only going to increase.
Which brings us back to those emerging fields we talked about.
Right, nanotech, biotech, all those cutting-edge areas.
They're pushing the boundaries of measurement.
And metrology is right there on the front lines.
It's exciting to think about.
It is. It's a field that's constantly evolving, always pushing the limits of what's possible.
So for anyone out there who's considering a career in metrology,
Yeah. What advice would you give them?
I'd say go for it. It's a challenging field, but incredibly rewarding. You get to work with amazing technology and make a real difference.
I couldn't agree more. And if you have that passion for precision, that attention to detail...
It's the perfect fit.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, we should mention RoleCatcher's career resources one more time.
Oh, yeah. They have some great tools for exploring different paths within metrology.
Like their Career Compass feature.
That's a good one.
It helps you research different types of jobs, learn about the skills you need, and even connect with people in those roles.
It's like having a personal career guide.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our metrology journey.
Time flies when you're having fun with measurements.
We've covered so much ground today, from interview questions to career paths.
And of course, the incredible power of RoleCatcher's AI.
We hope you found this deep dive informative and inspiring.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking about a career in metrology, go for it.
Yeah.
The world needs more passionate and skilled metrologists.
Could have said it better myself. So to all our deep divers out there,
Keep exploring, keep learning.
and most importantly, keep that passion for precision alive.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.